Let's have a look at what's making news in print and online this morning, and we're joined by Deputy Director at the Australia Institute, Ebony Bennett from Canberra. Good morning to you, Ebony.
Good morning, thanks for having me.
Lots of negotiations going on in regards to the safeguard mechanism that the government would have liked to have seen get through with the help of the Greens.
That's right. I honestly had to read this headline twice in the Sydney Morning Herald. It could honestly be from the Chaser. You've got investor groups on climate action, on climate change, and the Carbon Market Institute urging the Greens to pass the safeguards mechanism, which currently allows to build new gas and coal projects. So this is the government's signature piece of legislation designed to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. And you've got investor groups on climate change urging the Greens to pass basically a version of it that will allow emissions to increase. I mean, you've got these groups urging the Greens to back it on one hand, and the mining magnate Andrew Twiggy Forrest backing no new gas or coal. So it just shows you how degraded the debate around climate change policy has become in Australia.
The government, though, insists, as it has said for a long time, Ebony, that it will not place a moratorium on new coal and gas projects. So in the end, and there's all the, the predictable political barney and back and forth, the Greens will have to, for want of a better term, buckle, right?
Well, they've said that they would like to negotiate with the government. That's been the Greens' position. They haven't presented this as a fait accompli. And, there's other problems with this safeguard mechanism bill as well. For example, it allows not only new but existing projects to increase their emissions simply by buying offsets, which we know there have been some big concerns that those offsets are basically junk, or a lot of them are. So, yeah, I think this debate still has a long way to go.
I think you're right.
Hey, Ebony, one of our big stories we've been covering today is the fire at Port Lincoln. It's the front of the Adelaide Advertiser as well.
Yeah, that's right. Port Lincoln under siege is the headline. This community really under threat from an uncontrolled bushfire that I believe began at the local dump, according to this story. And several properties have been damaged and residents have been urged to stay inside because the smoke is possibly very toxic. So huge concern there, and obviously a lot of communities have experienced bushfires in recent years, including in South Australia. So I'm sure this is very upsetting for a lot of people, and my thoughts go out to that community in Port Lincoln. Yes,
searing weather having destructive impacts in Port Lincoln, but also really hot weather right around the country, including in Victoria. The Herald Sun leads with a very late summer, but a summer nonetheless.
That's right. Heat wave and extremely hot conditions right around Australia, and we've got a front page of a couple of people enjoying the beach, and I think 38 up to 40 degrees today perhaps in Melbourne. Obviously nice if you've got the day off work and can get to the beach, but I think if you're a brickie or a sparky who's got to be up in someone's roof today, those will be pretty brutal conditions.
Brutal conditions, and also tough for older people as well, so we're always going to be conscious of, yes, it's enjoyable for lots of people, but hard yards for so many others. Check on your neighbours. That's always great advice, Ebony.
Yeah. Interesting story coming out of New South Wales. It's the front of the Daily Telegraph about a printer who's refused to do the T-shirts for a sporting team.
Yeah, I must admit I picked this one because I'm a former roller derby player myself, but a horrible story coming out of Sydney at the moment with a local printing company in the CBD refusing to print, I think, pamphlets and T-shirts for a local roller derby bout, citing religious reasons because the teams refer to being butch, gay, femmes, those types of things. And of course this is probably a bout associated with World Pride, which is kicking off in Sydney today. So discrimination on the basis of sex and gender is unlawful in Australia, and fortunately we have seen the head company step in and apologise and offer free printing for Sydney Roller Derby League for this upcoming bout. It's an amazing spectator sport. I can only urge everyone to get along and see it.
Were you pretty good at it?
Look, I wasn't great, but I really enjoyed it. I love skating. It's fantastic.
Okay, Ebony Bennett, thanks for joining us this morning.